Hey everyone, Bevo Devo here with another Mike Force video. Now, if you watched my last video, What is Mike Force? Some of the stuff that I'm going to discuss in this video is going to be pretty similar, but this time it's going to be focusing on the specifics, because when you start out, there's a couple of things you need to know, so that way you're not confused and upset why things aren't working or what things are. So, first things first, you are going to spawn here, which is the Mike Force base. Now, if we look at the map here, this is currently an active session on my server, so you can see that some things are taken, and we'll go over things on the map for the first part. So the Mike Force base that you spawn at is right here. You can see my name right there, Corporal Burt. That's me. If we go just south of that is the main airfield, Pleiku Air Base, or Pleiku Air Base, one of those two, and that is the main area the Green Hornets, the helicopter pilots, operate in, and we will explore that in a bit. And if we go further south, this is the ACAV base, where all of your vehicles, tanks, transport trucks, all that kind of thing are going to be. And then just off to the west, we have the Spike Team base. Spike Team is not an active team in the beta. You can't choose it, but we'll get into all of the teams later. This is just so you can be oriented. Now, while we're at the Mike Force base, you'll notice there are a couple of things around, and we're going to address that. The first is the arsenal. Depending on the server settings, the arsenal will either be limited or will not be limited. So for the default settings of Mike Force, your arsenal and what you have access to in it is scripted based on your rank. Now, how do you find out your rank? Well, let's hit H as in hotel. You can see here, if I click on my name, that I am a colonel. It's going to set everyone to colonel because I have the settings to make the arsenal unlimited for everyone, just because we had some restart stuff, and it's just preferences at the end of the day. Now, additionally, while I've got you here, I'll kind of guide you through this menu. So if we look on the bottom of the left page, here are all the medals you'll earn. Now, as far as I'm aware, if you turn off the ranking system, you don't get medals. You're not able to unlock them, whereas if you had the ranking system on, which again is in the parameters, it's all just based on the server and whoever operates it. But since mine's off, I don't have any medals whatsoever. Now, if we move to the left page, I already showed you, you can click your name, which is right there. You can see your team right under that. I'm set to ACAV, just because that's what I was doing last night, and it'll give you all of the information in regards to it. Now, if you wish to change teams, what you'll do is you'll click the symbol that shows, for you, it'll probably show the Mike Force, which is this emblem. You'll just click on it and you get brought to this menu that says choose your team. Now, in case you don't know, I'll go over it again as to what all the teams do. Mike Force is the standard infantry, Green Hornets are pilots, and Armored Cav are builders and truck drivers, that kind of thing. And then additionally, you have Spike Team, but Spike Team, like I said, is not out, but those are going to be the behind-the-lines guys who are disrupting enemy supplies, all that kind of thing. So for the time being, we're just going to keep ACAV, and you'll just hit accept. Now, one thing to note while we back out of this menu is if we look at this guy right here, this is a duty officer. You can see at the bottom, it says 6 to interact. So if I hit 6, it will show me all these little trainings and stuff like that, which I will get into in just a bit. But the only reason I bring him up at this point is because if you want to change teams, you want to make sure you're near him. So if I were to run over here and try and change teams to Mike Force, cannot change teams without a duty officer present. But if I go back, looky there, I changed teams. So before we get into the duty officer itself, I want to introduce you just to the general interaction menu, which you can do at any time and hit 6. If you don't have any special roles that require doing stuff, then basically the only option you'll have is to put earplugs in, which makes everything quieter, or earplugs out. That's all just based on your preference. It is also how you interact with things, is that 6 key. So if we go up to the duty officer, we have a variety of options. We have the radio operator training, engineer training, medic training, and then if you do different teams, there's different roles like explosive specialist, and I think that's the only other one, but I could be wrong about that, and they each have their purpose. Just so you're generally aware, the radio operator training is for calling in AI ground support, so you get this menu, and so if I select that, I can now do radio support, and I just would need to select what I'd want. If I want illumination, high explosive, pick who from, if I want Arclight, Rambler, all that kind of thing, and then just click on a place on the map and hit confirm, and we'll hear that in just a bit. We'll get an Arclight over there. That'll be cool. So that was danger close. One note I want to make as well with the radio operator training is you want to make sure that you have an RTO backpack. So for example, I'm currently wearing the S.O.G RTO backpack, and so long as you have that training and the radio backpack, you will be perfectly fine. So if we look in the arsenal, just a couple of things to note that are special to be aware of is one, you have melee weapons and things like that. You can use melee weapons like anything else. You just click and it does a little animation, which is cool. There is utility for some of them. So for the ACAV, you're going to want to have a shovel because you will not be able to build stuff. But I am not going to really go over building in this video. If you want to learn more about ACAV stuff after watching this or whenever, I'm going to go ahead and link a video from the Shermanator who goes into full detail about the building system, and that's just outside the scope of this video. Anyways, continuing on, one important thing to note is if we look in the bottom left, we see our food and thirst meters. Food and thirst are a factor in this game, so you'll want to make sure you have food if you're going to be on a long patrol and not near any supplies for a while. So if we go to the magazines, as opposed to magazines for currently selected weapon, and scroll down quite a bit, you can see we're starting to get into the food and the canteens. So if I just grab a canteen and then 3 kilograms of chicken, then I have food and water. So if I go back outside of the arsenal and then I hit my inventory button and go and find that, there it is right here. In order to consume it, you want to make sure you're in your inventory. Double left click and you'll see drink. There we go, I drank, it's all gone. Chicken, same thing, eat, and it's all gone. And that's pretty much the basics for food. Now, another note as well, and I mentioned this in my other video, snakes do bite. Ow. And if you do get bitten by them, one of the things you need is anti-venom, because what's going to happen is you're going to lose all of your food and thirst meters. Are just going to drop down fully to the bottom, and so you'll want to take this, you'll hit it, and it'll say repack or whatever. Obviously, I'm not bitten by a snake, so it's not going to consume it, and then you will go ahead and patch that bite up. So I think that's just about the gist for the main stuff happening at Mike Force. So we're going to go ahead and move on, and this will be a lesson in fast traveling as well. So at every base, there's going to be one of these boards here. You can go up to it, hit 6, and now you have all these options. So it's sort of self-explanatory with the symbols. I know the text is pretty hard to read. It's very small, but it's no big deal because they provide these nice symbols to figure it out. So you have the helicopter, which is Pleiku, the airfield. This is the ACAV base, and this would be the Spike Team base. You don't really need to worry about Spike Team base because it's a team that's not functional. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Pleiku airfield. Now we've TP'd here, and you'll notice that it is a similar setup here. We have a duty officer right there, and then an arsenal as well here. Now, one thing to note at the airfield and at the ACAV base, there are supply officers. Now, this is only important if you want to fly for the Green Hornets or if you want to drive with the ACAV, because this is going to be how you get all of the supplies you need in order to keep FOBs up and running. So you'll come up to this guy and you'll hit 6 like you did with the duty officer, and now you've got this big menu of all these supplies. Again, I know it's very hard to read because it's very small text, but here's ammo supplies, medical supplies, food supplies, workshop supplies, sandbags and tools, building supplies large, and building supplies small. Now, if you click on that, you'll get a menu. Hey, there's a supply drop coming. And look, there's a big box. That's a supply drop. I'll do something different just to prove that that wasn't there already. Medical supplies. Hey, there's another box. Cool. So now just to prove that this is the case at ACAV base as well for the duty officer, arsenal, and supplies, we will go there. Here we are at the ACAV base. We've got the duty officer right here, and we have the supply officer over here and all the vehicles. Now if we go up to him, it'll be the same menu. If I want to put down building supplies small, they're going to spawn right there. and you can load that onto trucks and take it wherever you need to go. Alternatively, Green Hornets can come over here and pick it up if they wanted to, but not fully necessary. Alright, so just to demo how the teams work, right now I am set to Mike Force, so if I want to go and try and fly this helicopter on the Mike Force team, I'm going to go up to it, hit unlock, now it's unlocked, and try and get in on some pilot. It's going to pop me in the seat and immediately kick me out because I'm not in the right team. If you want to fly a helicopter, you want to make sure you're in the Green Hornets, so run back to the duty officer, press H, click the emblem, switch to the team you want to be on. So now I'm back on Green Hornets, and run back. And I'll come up to the helicopter, hit unlock, get in as pilot. And you'll notice now I'm not getting kicked out immediately because I am in the pilot role. The same thing applies to ACAV, as Mike Force guys or Green Hornet guys cannot drive their vehicles. It's only ACAV guys that can drive their vehicles. Now, while we're in the helicopter, I'm just going to go ahead and familiarize you with the Master Arm menu. It's very simple. You'll scroll down until you see it as an option, hit enter, and suddenly you've got this big menu where you can change all your stuff. So if I want to go ahead and change the paint job on this helicopter, I can to whatever I want within the options. And then I can also change the loadout if this actually had pylons or pods on it. Now, bear in mind with the loadouts, they're all predetermined, so you can't select individual pylons. So you'll have like a cast loadout, an anti-tank loadout, APRs, that kind of thing. In the meantime, if we look at the bottom of the page, we'll see Rearm, Refuel, Repair Vehicle. So if you ever land it and you're low on fuel or need to rearm, it's just as simple as hitting that and then hitting Confirm Changes, and it works. Just bear in mind that in order to do it, there's pretty much an AoE around this helipad and along this whole row wherever there's helicopters. You just have to get within a certain area in order to get that menu up, but once you're up, you can access it and use it. Don't try and use it from the air because it will turn off your engine, and then you'll have to restart it, so chances are you'll just crash in a fiery inferno. Now, I believe that's all there is to say about getting started, so that way when you come into this, you'll know what you need to do so you can quickly get on the ground and help everyone at the FOB or get in the air and do whatever you need to do to get the VC off the map. Now, I hope this helped. Make sure to let me know down in the comments below, and I will try and answer them as best I can. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and go get some.